Hello and welcome to a brand new show from the Nerds Are Us crew. Not bollocks, I lost track already. Jesus Christ. Um, yeah,
That's what new shows are for.
yeah,
So we're going to
yeah,
work out the kinks
yeah,
today.
yeah. So, my name is Foxy. I'm joined today by Amy and
Hello.
And I'm Mad Kurt.
but
Otherwise known as Tony.
Yeah.
Tony.
yes.
Yeah.
But if you want to introduce like what this show is, Amy.
So basically, this show we agreed on as a group title. It's going to be comic books and beyond. So for the detectives amongst us, we're basically going to be discussing comic books, comic book movies, and beyond that. So obviously any other series as well that they kind of have. Yeah, this is actually
If
you do
it's
get cut off
nerdy,
very quickly.
we're
Yeah.
gonna do something
Yeah.
about it, basically.
Exactly. So yeah,
Nice and simple, lads.
Yeah.
simplicity.
Obviously, like, so I imagine with this, we should start off with comic books. Obviously, go figure. But
Chances.
but when I'll put it to you, when was the first time you got into comics?
I
I think I was like 4 and I got a Hulk like annual that had like different comics in it.
Mm.
And yeah, I was from then, and I'd randomly just get them annuals that would have the different small comic storylines, and I was hooked from there. And now it's just like, right, my bank account is afraid to look at the DC app because I'm just gonna go buy another one.
It's like buy.
Buy.
It's like
Oh,
having
there's
those.
this random one that I've never heard of. Yeah, buy it. Why not?
It's like having those football cards as a kid. It's like need,
Yeah,
got him, need.
Yeah, that was another obsession of mine. We don't need to go into.
football trading cards.
Match
My one.
attacks.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't think of the name of it. There you go. They're still around. Tony's
Yeah,
now bank
they are.
account is now terrified because it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
My one was how did I get into comics? Do you know what? I think it's because you know the way you had newspapers had like the comics section in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Newspaper
No, I'm not
comics
that
was my
old, so.
first. Wow. They still have them, so it's not like it's an old thing. There
This is still
is
around.
still a comic newspaper, but yeah, that was how I got into. That's how I got into comics in general. And then like from watching cartoons, I think the first like comic book cartoon I actually would have watched was X-Men, the original X-Men series.
Great
And then
show.
going from there, that was my introduction to comic books. And then it was like, oh, these are actually a thing that you can read. So that was my whole kind of forte into it, was the newspaper to TV to an actual comic book.
Like
And yeah,
for me, like it obviously like Batman was the first and foremost one that I remember. I remember getting like just a handful of comics, but it wasn't like Batman stood out to me. But I had gotten a mix of Batman, Superman. I think I'd gotten like a Spider-Man and someone else. But like from then on, it was like with Amy, the TV shows, because you had Batman the animated series. I'm a '90s kid, so you also had the Marvel side, which had Spider-Man, X-Men, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, like Incredible Hulk. You had loads of shows, like comic book related
yeah,
shows, and they were
that
done
was like,
so well.
yeah, like I went back and I watched all the 5 seasons that they have of the X-Men cartoon, the original kind of series. And I was like watching that back and I'm like, oh my God, this was great. And at the intro to that show, it's like, you know, when it has like, they're doing like the introduction, the theme song that's
Previously,
on it.
yeah.
Oh my God, I heard the theme song for the first time in I don't know how long. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I forgot how great this was. It's such a good, even as just like the opening to it, it's such a good
Yeah.
show. And it has like the best characters in it. Like, all right, I am an absolute, I'll use a term that Tony's comfortable with. I'm an absolute simp when it comes to Gambit. Like, I love Gambit is like one of my favorite comic book characters.
Let's just make one thing clear. Simping is banned.
And it's banned. Oh, okay.
Fine. That works to my advantage then. Actually, that actually works well to my advantage, and that means you can't bring up any of the shit that you have on me. But yeah, like you have like if you're going back like for the X-Men that they had in the series, you've got Gambit, you've got Rogue, Storm, Professor X, Beast, which was a fucking great character.
Yep.
Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and then obviously you have like Magneto, Sabretooth, and Mystique.
Mystique. Yes.
Mystique.
Mystique.
But now that you say Storm, I'm going to get PTSD because I'm just going to keep thinking Beyonce now.
Calm down. Calm down. We're not going to go there just yet.
I know.
Yeah.
I just had to. I had to say. I had to get it out there. It's a horrible.
Don't worry. You'll have a moment. Okay, we're on the X-Men binge. You'll have a chance. But,
We'll have a chance to do it.
Yeah,
I'll
but
have
they
a
were
chance
like,
to do that mental breakdown later. Just here's the
Yeah.
seeds of that mental breakdown
Yeah.
now.
but like this is like because like bearing in mind, I had to go through this as well when they had Taylor Kirsch as Gambit, and I'm like, fuck you. And they didn't even have him in like one of the full movies. It was a bloody fucking Wolverine movie that he was in.
Yeah.
He should have got his damn standalone movie. Bastards.
Yeah.
I think they were planning on one.
They were, but
they were
with
Or
Channing
the Marvel take.
Channing Tatum, but like, I'm sorry, no.
I don't like him as an actor, let alone.
I don't think he has, like,
He
for
doesn't
me,
have
from
that
what,
in him.
yeah, I don't see him being able to pull that off. As much as
No.
he may be a fan of the character, I don't
Yeah.
think he could.
Like
But if we're
Ryan
going- yeah.
Reynolds can make it work. Like Ryan Reynolds, you'd know he's a fan of the comic book when he did Deadpool,
Mm.
but like he also knew he had an awful lot of apologies to make to people for what he already did to us with regards to Green Lantern, and he pulled that shit off.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Like,
he had to apologize for what he did with Deadpool originally.
Yeah. People
That
tend to
too.
forget that as well.
Yeah,
'Cause
they tend
people like to forget about
Deadpool
that
had
movie.
They forget that he had his mouth sewn shut and shot lasers out of his eyes.
I don't. I'm
He-
not referencing that
They,
at
they,
all. That doesn't exist.
they turned him
Yeah,
into a
guys.
mute Baraka from Mortal Kombat.
But the thing is, like, hold on. Then think about it. They screwed up two like of my favorite comic book characters in one movie. That was Deadpool. And fucking Gambit was in that Wolverine.
Same
Yeah.
movie.
X-Men Wolverine Origins, wasn't it?
Wow, it's
Yeah.
amazing. I can only be angry about one aspect of it at a time.
And you wonder why the film is panned so badly.
I
Yeah.
actually I forget. I do forget sometimes because I'm so focused on one massive negative in it. But I have to admit, with Wolverine, they completely did like a 180 on that and they fixed it
Yeah.
with Logan. That was a beautiful movie.
And it happened to be the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
perfect
a
ending.
stunning movie to do.
Yeah.
Oh, made me
It was just
fucking
so
cry, like.
different. It wasn't actually like an action. It was actually a.
Film
It wasn't
noir.
like if it wasn't action based. It was just like, all right, this is a normal acting movie with a little bit of action involved.
It harkens
Yeah, it was
back
very-
to the old westerns, where
Yeah,
it was
what I
slow
mean.
and then things would happen by circumstance or in the process.
Yeah,
But-
it wasn't like everything that happened in that movie. It wasn't like this is it wasn't forced to happen.
Yeah.
It was just the way that it develops in a sense. Like obviously that you're going based on what like a script and stuff tells you what to do, and this is where it is. But they knew what they were doing with it. It was like this is going to be a very slow movie.
But
And
at the
it's-
stage where it's also Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart,
Mm.
like even though they're told what to do, they can still freestyle it a bit because
Yeah.
they are at that stage.
They can
I think it's
dictate it
one of those-
because they've been involved for so long.
Yeah, that's the thing is like it's
They know the
the
characters.
two of them the two of them have been the characters on it for so long that it's one of those things, you know, like I wouldn't say Batman has it, but when you've played a role for let's say 2 or 3 movies, I think as actors would have okay, I have an ownership over this character. I kind of feel like this character is mine. Like Hugh Jackman is a great one for it because it was a lot of people says, well, no one else can do Wolverine. That's Hugh Jackman's role.
Mhm.
Like if you're doing a
Ryan
reboot
Reynolds,
of that,
Deadpool.
yeah, like if you're
Robert
doing
Downey
a
Jr..
reboot Iron
Yeah.
Man, like I mean you won't be able to find someone else to fill that role
Honestly,
because
Chris
if you do,
Hemsworth
you're
has
just
Thor
going.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see
Yeah,
anyone
I mean they've done it for so long. I think at this point, it's like it is their role, and everything else now
Yeah.
that they're doing it for, it is okay. You're going to be basing it off what that other actor did, because like the new, when Christopher Nolan's Batman series was finished, and it was like, okay, there's going to be a new Batman. Everyone was basing, well, how are they going? Everyone was basing it on Christian Bale's version of Batman.
Yeah.
They weren't going back to the original Batman. Like no one's going back and saying, no, that's Adam West's role. Like how dare you
Or Michael
try and
Keaton.
take over? Yeah,
Or-
like that's what I mean. Like it's there
Definitely not
wasn't.
Val Kilmer.
No, well, to
Well,
be fair, he only did one movie of it, but his version of the movie wasn't
I
bad. I
hate
think
it.
I
I hate it.
remember we had
you
this.
don't hate as much as Batman and Robin.
No,
Batman
not
and
as
Robin
much as
was
that.
so much worse.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like with Batman and Robin, it's the same director, and he tried to do the same thing twice. Like I like Batman Forever as a standalone film because it really is. It's a proper comic book film. It's over the top. It's even when you're reading like a comic, and they, John away, Watchmen did this, and Watchmen were guilty of this. Some of the script, like some of the lines were lifted directly from the comic book and put into a movie. It's unnecessary to do that, because when you're reading a comic, you have to be able to read they have to be able to describe what it is, because you're not actually seeing it visually. Whereas when you're watching a movie on the screen, you can see
The visual is there.
Exactly, you can see it, so it makes no sense for them to describe it like you were reading a comic. And Watchmen did that an awful lot, and that's another movie that I have a bit of an issue with.
Like like with the Watchmen, it has that. Now, granted, it was done by Zack Snyder, who had a proven record up until that point as well, at being good at doing these kind of films. But Watchmen, like, it was afforded the time to really tell the story, and also the fact that some people are very hit and miss on it because they probably haven't read the actual book,
Yeah,
or it's too long for them. They weren't into it.
see, here's the thing is, I think I remember when that movie first came out, it was 2009, and it was Paddy's Day. That was released on Paddy's Day. And I remember this because we'd gone to see it that day, but we had to go to the later screening because we couldn't get across the road because the guards had everything blocked off for the parade. So we had spent
That's why you live
half
in the
the day.
sticks, lads.
Half the day were spent in the pub waiting until we could cross the fucking road, and then we had gotten a bit maybe too much to drink, and then we'd gone to see Watchmen. So this was like nearly over 3 hours of then sitting in the cinema, and you're kind of like, do you know what? I actually can't do this right now. And then there's obviously okay, if you've seen Watchmen, you know that there's a big blue elephant in this room, right? And it just kind of hits you when you're least expecting it, right? Now, the person who I went to see this movie with did not know anything about Watchmen. And me stupidly thinking they'll probably have him wearing underwear. They're not going to do a frontal. It followed you around the theater, like no matter where you went, it followed you everywhere you went. And you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to see this.
It's kind of like when a painting, you're just moving the whole
yeah,
time.
the eyes
follow.
just kind of follow you the whole time.
Just that one eye is following you, like left and right.
Yeah.
And we got through the entire movie, and then as we were leaving, you can hear a few people giggling as you're leaving. You're kind of like, lads, we're all meant to be adults, but it's the only way to kind of people were able to like comprehend it and stuff like that. And everyone was just kind of laughing and making a joke about it. And the friend of mine who went, she was kind of like, what the fuck? What did we even watch? And she's like, I'm never watching a fucking comic book movie with you ever again. This is like, that was shit. It was so long. It was so shit. Whereas I was like, it was actually really good, bar like one or two things. And then I never watched it again until a couple of years later. And then it was on. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen this in ages. And then I started watching. I was like, oh my God, every single character in this is so fucking problematic. Like, this works much better as a TV show as it did a movie. Like, it's a beautifully
I think the
made.
TV show they did, Watchmen, was so much better than.
It was
movie.
so much better. It really was, because it's like they're trying to like cramming every single, like they took that entire book, and they decided we're going to do this from start to finish. Now, granted, they left the ending out of it, which, all right, the ending that they have in the movie works much better than the ending that they have in the comic book. Let's not lie on that one.
Yeah.
And it works better. And you know what? That's fine. I'm happy enough with that, because if they had gone with the original ending with the fucking alien by like fucking species thing, I literally would have just been like, I can't do this. Like, this is actually
I
too
can't
fucking much.
comprehend this.
It's like, I actually can't deal with this. Also, I'm nearly 100% sure Adrian was like, might have been a pedophile when I think back on it. When you look at certain things that he has, granted, I don't mean this by like the type of character that he was, but like there actually is a thing where when you're watching the movie on his computer, when they're trying to get into his computer, he does have a folder labeled boys on his computer, and you're kind of like thinking, what's in here? Yeah, look back and you'll see.
I'll have to
Look
watch
back
that.
Oh, no.
and you will see.
I
When they're
never looked
literally
that
trying to
close
get the
about it.
password.
Although,
It's
when watching
you're
that
looking at
film, though, Rorschach, best character in it,
oh my
Right.
God.
by far.
And what's your man's name? What's his name? What's the fella that did it? He did Freddy Krueger in the remake.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Oh, Earl Haley Jr. or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He is can't imagine. Like, he's another one. I can't imagine anyone actually taking over that role. That's his thing. Like, that is his fucking. That he is that character.
It's just the way it is. Like, some people get they're either really big fans of it. Now, granted, not all the fans
Jackie Earl Haley.
can. There you go.
Yeah.
Like, not all fans can portray the character they really love as well as someone else.
Yeah,
Well,
that's like, it's
as evidenced by Ben Affleck doing Daredevil.
yes. Oh Jesus.
Now, it got
Yeah.
such a harsh abuse because the theatrical release, they'd cut out at least 30 to 45 minutes of the film. So,
Oh
Yeah.
my God, those fucking pigeons.
okay. Okay. But like with
Sorry.
but with the, like, obviously when you got the director's cut, that extra 30 to 40 minutes was added back in, and it's actually a very decent film, like comic book movie.
That's why I'm half excited for the Snyder Cut to come out, even though I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder.
Yeah, like
I'm still hoping that the elements he had in it can make that movie.
See, someone had a thing. Someone had posted up. This was something I saw on Twitter ages ago, and I think it was like, it doesn't matter how many cuts you do, you can't make a good movie when you don't have good material to work with. And it is one of those things. It's like,
it's the way he's teasing it is that it's a completely different movie than what came out.
See, that's the thing as well. It's like, don't forget, like, he's gonna get royalties off this no matter what. So I think the more that this is actually seen, the more that this is bought, the more money he's gonna get. Like, he needs to make his bank on this, and he's gone out of his way to be like, no, this is the be all end all. This is the greatest. Like, this is going to be the movie. It's like,
he has to deliver.
You have to.
He has to deliver now.
And I don't think he
it's
can.
His reputation on the line, because like he has the director style of just like, okay, we're going to fit as much into this as possible. Hopefully the characters develop along the way as well.
His movies remind me of Michael Bay movies nowadays, right? So Zach has a very specific way that he likes to do his movies, right? Yeah. So if you look at Watchmen and if you look at 300, what was the other one that he did?
Dawn of the Dead.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, well, I'm not going to count Dawn of the Dead because that wasn't as CGI led as everything else that kind of came after.
He did Batman vs Superman. And
So like, but everything that he has, like, he really likes using like the computer. Like his friend is a computer in this sense, right? That's how he likes to kind of do his graphics. It's kind of like a Michael Bay movie. Michael Bay loves to have explosions when it's not fucking necessary, and you're watching a Michael Bay movie by the opening scene. Like, a city's going to be completely destroyed in an explosion. That won't really have anything to do with the actual storyline, but it's in there anyway. Like Bad Boys. Bad Boys is like a buddy cop movie. yet the opening scenes for nearly everything has something being completely blown up and destroyed, and it's like it's never going to come back to this, but I just wanted to get it in there now. I'm sorry, but if like I was a fucking mayor of this city, I'd be like, yous are all fired, get out, like
Yeah.
yous have destroyed the city, like sort of thing, like leave. But that's what I'm kind of getting from Zach now. Like he did one really good movie,
He's
and he made it really
aesthetics
well.
over movie quality.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's like he's like I'm now known for this. M. Night Shyamalan had the same problem. He
Yeah.
did a really good movie that had an amazing twist, and then every single movie that he did afterwards, he seemed to try and do the exact same thing again.
Yes.
The only other one that I can think that had, and I know it gets shit on an awful lot, but The Village was actually, I really liked the twist that The Village had. I wasn't expecting it. And for me, I was like, oh, he's back on form. Like, oh God, okay, this is actually, yes, he got it right on this one. I wasn't expecting it to be set in modern day. I legit thought it was back in whatever fucking year they had decided to live in. And that's, he did it twice. That was it. Like M. Night Shyamalan though can fuck off after the happening. I'm like, I'm done with you, you fucking
But
prick.
a lot of people tend to forget that, like M. Night Shyamalan. Sorry, like I just can't say his name properly. But
I don't even know if I've said it right.
Shyamalan. But he's the brain of Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm glad you saved it with Avatar and then just like The Last Airbender because I
But-
don't like Avatar.
yeah, I know. But that's like every director has like a hit and miss. But there's either one that's really, really bad or one that's incredibly good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but
look
I
at
feel like James Gunn has that.
Yeah.
Like he has the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then he brought out Brightburn, which was meant to be a horror Superman that fell flat, really.
mm,
And he has a countless other like horror-esque movies that have just failed.
I find horror movies are really hard to actually do
Yeah.
and get right. Because you have, like, if you look at horror of old, which you have, like, fucking, I'm going to just go with the original, like, the ones that I can think of, like, that I would have known would have been, like, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like,
Friday the
they're
13th.
three particular movies that were, like, they're all, like, nearly, like, 70s, even, like, Night of the Living Dead and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
they're all very new concepts as to what they actually were. And they were scary at the time. Like when you watch them back now, like if you watch back the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example, and if you look at that now, there's only one, maybe two scenes that actually have any blood in it. Everything else is kind of like it's made up in your own mind, and you
It's
have to kind of
suspense.
exactly.
Yeah,
and you
we're
have to do it
as
yourself.
well. Like blood doesn't really add to horror anymore because we're so desensitized to
But
it.
it
with-
did. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
but
that's what
it
I'm saying.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
'Cause
like
we're just
nowadays,
these days, like
Like
you
now-
can see the Game of Thrones poster behind me. Like I'm used to blood in what I watch. Like it's spewing everywhere. It's spraying up in people's noses. It's like
sorry, I'm a woman. I'm used to it monthly. Like
well,
it's not a
Jesus.
new thing.
Well-
No, like you're
Like-
all
well,
adults, right?
no,
It's not a
I'm
new
talking
thing,
about it
but
in my
it's,
TV. Yeah.
it's hard.
I think the
I f-
transition was the Saw movies
Yes.
in terms of like escalating from just little bits of violence and maybe blood or a certain level of blood to
To
just
complete.
overblown, like gore porn as it's called.
Yeah,
where-
Eli Roth is another one that does that. So he did Cabin Fever, and then Cabin Fever was really good.
Yeah.
Like that was fucking scary. Like, and it's one of those things where you're kind of like, right, this is a situation where, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, shit, that actually could happen. You could get an infection. Like you could pick up something from drinking a tainted water supply, and you don't want to think of it, and you're like, oh god, I don't want to do that. And then, yeah, like that's what in your head. But then he does Hostel, and you're kind of like, this is very over the top. Ugh. I'm thinking of the ankle when he cuts the ankle, and you're just like, ugh,
No,
That's-
I'm thinking of something else that happened in one of those
the
films.
drills,
No,
the eye.
the guy getting strapped to a chair and something cut off and fed to
Ah.
a dog. Yeah, not nice.
Oh.
Not nice.
Is this 2003 WWE with a sword or what?
No, like
Nice
Ah,
throwback.
very good.
But yeah, like those, like I mean, he took, like I think Eli Roth looked at it. He's like, I'm like, his entire aspect was, I don't want to make you scared. I want to make you not want to watch. And
Yeah,
like that was his whole kind of theme on it. Is like he's making a movie that's going to make you really uncomfortable to actually sit and watch it. And I think because doing something like that, it makes it kind of releases something in your own brain where you kind of feel bad for watching it, and then but you're enjoying it as well.
yeah,
Like I can sit and I can watch some of those movies. Like I can sit down and I can watch Hostel, and I do feel really disgusted in watching it because I'm like, oh, this is absolutely horrible. But yeah, I'm guilty of buying them as well. So like, because I bought them because I was like, oh, but I really like it. It's like sometimes you're just in the like, you need to watch something where you're like, do I actually still feel something every now and again? And as long as I never watch that, and if I ever watch a movie that like makes me cringe in just absolute either horror or disgust, and then one day I watch it and I no longer have that feeling, then I'm gonna start getting really worried about my own like kind of well-being. I'm like, am I okay? Like if this doesn't bother me anymore. There's like
Uh,
Requiem for a Dream. Is that
I,
I've only ever seen that movie once,
that's
and
all you need. You only need
I
to
will
see it
never
once.
watch that movie again. But if so, I can remember it so clearly. Like I can't watch Sky Sports because Sky Sports uses the fucking song that was that soundtrack, that was the fucking
Yeah,
score for that movie. And every time I hear it on Sky Sports, I just remember Requiem for a Dream, and it disturbs me so fucking much.
and it's a film that's like, there's no happy ending. It's
No,
it's
it's
all it's a
My
super
favorite
depressing
type
film.
of film.
I had said before, I remember a friend of me, I think it was like when we had first watched it, and it was like, this is the type of movie that they should show in schools to like deter drug use.
Yeah,
Like,
well, you
if
could, yeah.
you're honest to God, that is the I would if I was a teacher, I would force students in CSPE to watch that movie and be like, oh, you all think heroin is funny? Watch this. And
Yeah.
honest to God, like, granted, I'd be fired, but still, it would be worth it if they don't do drugs.
Just
Like,
horrified faces of the class. Just, "Ah!"
what are
You
you
go to
doing?
the
They
next
need to
school
know.
and the
They need to
you go
know
to the
the
next school and the
dangers.
principal's just
No,
like, okay,
we
so
heard about
why
you.
are you on your like 12th school this year
This the
already?
thing is
Well, let
like,
me tell you this story.
this
I've
would be
been
the
trying to
thing
get
is
them off drugs.
they'll all be like, Amy, we understand that you want to like do the war on drugs, but this was not the way of doing it. I'm like, but they need to know. They're 6. They don't need to know. Like, okay, whatever.
Um,
Yeah.
like obviously, like with the way the films are, like as we said, like some are good, some are bad. Like, but I feel that like films that do the job where, okay, you forget, like
Yes.
there's a good few that can do it, but I mean, in regards to comic book movies, there's only a very few that can actually make you just forget and just tune out. Like you'll actually watch the film fully engrossed in it and just want to know everything. Like Marvel have
Yeah.
kind of done that. Like they've kind of
Yeah.
perfected it, where you'll go to every film the full attention because you want to see, you want to catch a little comment or you want to see a little Easter egg. They
They
fully
have and
know
they
their audience.
haven't. I think it's also the fact that I'm not a fan of them doing prequels.
No, I don't like
So it's like
prequels myself.
like
And
say yeah, so like say from an instance, Captain Marvel was a hard watch for me because
mm,
you know, like it's the whole that you can't tell it. You know, there's going to be no risk to the main character.
yeah,
That's why I look at like that's
Yeah.
why what I like is want to be able to believe that the character's at risk. But say with Black Widow, knowing where she ends up and knowing where her movie's coming out, you know nothing's
Yeah.
going to happen to her.
Yeah, it does kind of like, I do get in like those sense, it does ruin it. I think though as well, for like if you're like the hardcore fans on it though,
Mm.
it's one of them, they're kind of like, well, I know she's going to turn up in Infinity Wars, but I want to know her story before of how she got to this point.
Mm.
And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like they like with some of them they have it's one of those things as well, right? Because you have to think about it. If Iron Man didn't take off the way it did, and it
Yeah.
didn't basically bring like just kind of re-brought
Revitalized
Robert Downey Jr. himself, though. Like it brought him, like bringing him into it when nobody wanted to touch him, right? So
Yeah.
they took a
And
risk
we
on
have
their
to thank
actor.
Marvel for that because we got the Sherlock Holmes movies as well. So
Yeah, like they took a massive risk on an actor who was nearly pretty much going to be blacklisted from everything,
kicked out
right?
from Hollywood basically.
And then you have an idea where it's kind of like, do people actually want to watch a comic book movie now? Because at the time, I think we were kind of done with the comic book phase at the time.
because we'd had
Well,
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins had been out.
2000.
We've already
what year
dealt
was
with
it?
Spider-Man,
2008 was.
2008 was The Dark Knight.
right?
Yeah.
So we've had an awful lot of comic book movies already at this point. We've had some serious hits.
We've had the Tobey Maguire.
Some missed.
Yeah, the first Iron
Right.
Man came out the same year as The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like, it's
So that
one
was
of those
before
things.
there was
Like The Dark Knight was very much, this is kind of this was the adult orientated comic book movie, whereas Iron Man wasn't, and it's kind of like, oh, it's I don't know if I really want to see this sort of thing. So they were taking a chance on it, and it just so happened that it was a whopper of a chance that absolutely paid off massively for them. Because if it had gone tits up, do you actually think they would have continued?
I think they had the
Because
Hulk
they were
movie
their
ready
own.
to go.
Well,
Yeah.
even getting the Hulk movies weren't doing great either, though.
Oh, the Hulk movie did terrible. They still.
That's what I mean. Like, I mean,
I think that's
Marvel
the
at the
only
time
Marvel one not
wasn't
on
a
Disney
massive.
Plus, but I think that's a rights thing or whatever.
It's a
but
rights
still,
thing. It is.
Yeah.
It's to do with the rights on it. But like in this sense here, like because Marvel hadn't been taken over at this point, they were still their own thing, and I'm nearly sure that they were actually like pushing like, this is going to make or break it now for us. And it just so happened that it paid off. And I think that is down though to Robert Downey Jr. because everyone kind of flocked to see his comeback.
He's a very charismatic actor.
He's an excellent actor. Like some of the shit that he's done, when you watch back, you're like, oh my God, like he is highly underrated. Like for
Like
some of his work that he's done.
2008 was the year he got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
For Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Because he was on
maybe looking back now is in poor taste, but like.
Do you know, actually, there's been an awful lot of interviews where I think Jamie Foxx gives the best one on it, and he was kind of like, and he goes, no, he owned that. Considering what the actual character is, and how they portrayed the character in it, and how they explain why he's done this, it is kind of like, no, he hasn't done this out of spite, and it wasn't done in a racist tendency. It's done completely kind of to rip the piss out of other actors. And even Robert himself had kind of panned him and goes, I wasn't comfortable doing it until a few of my other friends had said, no, don't worry, this is okay. Kind of where you're coming from. And
because I imagine at the time, like they understood, look, this isn't like, we're not getting you in here to do it as a malicious like standpoint or to show a political like view. This is simply just because it's a funny idea. And the character would actually work so well in the movie.
Yeah, and it's like, even like the other the character that plays, what's his name? Alpha? No, not Alpha. I can't think of who the actor is, but he's the only other black like character that's in the Tropic Thunder movie. Even he points it up, and he's like, there was only one good role, and they hired the white Australian to play the black man, sort of thing. Like, so the movie itself is poking fun at Hollywood because this is what they do. This is what they do, and that's why it's done. Like, it's not done to be malicious. It's not done as a caricature of that person. Granted, would
it be considered satire?
Kirk Lazarus. I would put it more in a satirical role than anything else. Because I mean, anyone who's taken the fucking movie Tropic Thunder seriously, I mean, even fucking it's I don't take that movie seriously at all.
And you shouldn't. But like,
no,
obviously, when you watch that film, like, and it's absolutely hilarious because there's also have Ben Stiller and Jack Black in there as well.
Oh my God, Jack Black, when he's like going through like
his withdrawals,
his fucking withdrawal syndromes,
but
eating the bat, like ripping the head off the bat,
like you think of that though, but think back like years ago, like Blazing Saddles, like Mel Brooks with his films, constantly like satirical like humor, but so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
You had to bring up Blazing Saddles. I'm just thinking of the
yeah.
bit where they're making the beans. Like it's the most well-known. It's just so.
Or the most quotable one. It's like, never mind that shit. Here comes Mungo. Like, just straight away, like you could do that at random setting, and you'll know who fucking seen the film.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I think a lot of things are lost nowadays. Like, because I mean, like, I can still sit back. I can watch this now. This might come as shock to Tony, but there is like stuff in black and white still readily available, right? And the Marx Brothers.
I know.
right?
I've seen
Yes.
Schindler's List.
And the Marx Jesus Christ. And the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy are a great
Yeah.
example of them, because I will like, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, but if the big store is on TV or if it's on TCM movies or something like that, I will fucking watch it just to see Chico and fucking Groucho go through the fucking the contract as they're ripping everything out of the contract, going through it that way, and then Laurel and Hardy, the flying deuces. Like, it's still fucking funny,
Like,
but
the sense
like they're
of
not
humor that
like
they had.
it's it was very kind of like this, like the fact that it kind of stands in 2018, that when you look back on some of these and you still laugh as if, like, if you've never seen it before, you're still gonna laugh at that. Like, that was comedy that will never go old. Like, that will never get old. Like, it's the same with Charlie Chaplin stuff, which again, Robert Downey Jr. played an excellent Charlie Chaplin.
Yes.
But like, when you watch his things, like, it's a fucking silent movie, but you still feel compassion for the character that he portrays in it, and you still feel bad for the tramp and kind of where he comes from, and it sticks with you. Like, nowadays,
And
when
it's
you're
same with
watching
Mr.
a movie,
Bean. He's a silent character, and
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
funny. Him
Yeah.
in the park washing his fucking lettuce in the fountain in a sock to make his
Yeah.
sandwich is still going to make you laugh
yeah, exactly.
over what he's doing. Like, it's very stupid and it's very slapstick,
What
and
was that?
it's
Was it Mr. Bean's holiday? The one where he went? Yeah, the one where he went to France.
yeah,
where
and
you
he's
won the
like
ticket to
the
France.
painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
still
like
remember
him
the
just
episode
like
where
in
he's
the
trying to
car
drive,
flipping everyone off.
where he's trying to drive the car on top of the car.
Oh yeah.
Or the different situations where he'd knock over the three-wheel car as well.
Yeah.
He just hated that car.
Like,
Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson, like, is a brilliant actor in that sense
Oh,
as
he's
well. And
top
it's
tier.
weird. It's so weird. Like, when you look at him in like other things, you're kind of like, you're Mr. Bean. Like, that's all I'm ever gonna really know you for. Nothing else, but you're Mr. Bean. It's like Chris Evans now is not going to be anything but Captain America. Robert Downey Jr.
Would you
is
not say
nothing to me
Rowan
but-
Atkinson is Johnny English?
No,
No,
No.
No.
no, he's Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
He is forever
Yeah.
Mr. Bean.
I get a bit
You
of both
fucking
off them,
child
though,
with your bloody Johnny English.
Johnny English.
Like,
I
that'd be
haven't
like,
watched the last one though.
but everyone has that, depending on where. Like, obviously, Tony, you're much younger than myself and Amy.
Really? Mad.
But sorry, Amy.
You didn't have to say, oh, fuck you. Like,
You
There's
didn't
only
have
a
to say
couple of
that
days.
much.
There's only a couple of days between me and you. Thank you very much.
But like, depending on when you were born, like, you'll have certain actors that you'll never see anyone on their level, kind of thing. So
Exactly.
for me, like, obviously Batman, Michael Keaton,
Yeah,
by far, like, he's
Yeah.
top of the range. But I'm not like other people where it's like, he's the only one. I think someone was better. No, I think other people have gotten really do their own good Batman, but
Yeah.
he is still my top favorite.
I think like I'd have like a top 3 of everything and anything sort of thing, and because everything gets remade nowadays,
Countless times.
like Spider-Man is a great example of this, because you have like 4 different Spider-Mans now 3.
3, yeah.
3,
Three.
yeah, right. So you have 3 different Spider-Mans, and each of these Spider-Mans have now had their own kind of collection of movies. Granted, Andrew Garfield I don't think Andrew Garfield was given a fair run at it,
He didn't get
No.
his trilogy. No.
right? He didn't get his 3rd one, but I still I enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man movies, even
I
still.
don't enjoy the second one, I'll say that.
But see, here's the thing: is there's aspects on them where I can enjoy, because I know why you don't like it, and because you never got your Gwen Stacy arc. I know that's why you didn't like it.
Yeah.
But the reason
I
why
didn't like Electro either.
oh well, see, I'm just gonna
I
take
would
away
argue with that.
from the villains that they use for a second. But like the reason why I generally enjoyed the Spider like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man on it is because not only did they, as usual, kill Uncle Ben, but they actually did go with it wasn't straight away. It wasn't just thrown into Mary Jane straight away.
They went
Yeah.
with
It
Gwen
did
Stacy
give.
instead.
They actually went with Gwen Stacy, and I'm like, no other real movies had actually done that.
Mm.
Like the
And also
third,
Andrew
I think,
Garfield could do the emotional parts better than anyone
yeah.
else had.
Like, but the thing is, like, I liked Tobey Maguire was the first one, and I think the third one really did kind of fuck that over for me because I'm kind of like they went full comic book in a sense where they hadn't before.
What, do you not like Tobey Maguire just going?
I
find
don't think
I
it
find the
makes
third
sense.
Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire a lot of fun to watch and rip the piss
Yeah.
out. Whereas
Yeah,
like
but
the
I mean,
other
that thing
two,
is,
I
like,
wouldn't touch. The other two, I
the
wouldn't
other
touch.
two are grand. The other two are fine. It's too like you're able to make a joke with the third one too much in a sense. Whereas
Yeah,
it was part of a trilogy sort of thing, so they should have been finishing a story on that. Whereas then when they brought Venom into it, it wasn't the Venom that I imagined, and I don't. Topher Grace was not Venom, and that
No.
was really really bad. And I'm kind of like, this kind of ruins the whole thing for me. So I don't enjoy it as a trilogy because the third, it's like The Godfather. Like the third one kind of lets it down when you had two really strong movies come before it. So I think had Andrew Garfield been given a third
one.
movie,
It might
you
have
never
just
know.
gone.
They could have brought in Spider-Gwen into this for all we know. Like, I know that's what Tony wanted, but but my appreciation of that was at least they actually did an original
Oh, yeah.
storyline on it. If they didn't just take the third one like Batman does and just start it from the start again and do it again, like just
Yeah.
go from where we already know. They introduced someone else that maybe other fans wouldn't have known because they wouldn't have read the comics. And they had her story arc in it, and they had her death in it the way it was done in the comics as well.
Mm.
And I like that. And then
like-
Tom Holland is
Yeah.
cute as Spider-Man. I'm sorry, he's just adorable. He plays Peter Parker at an
I
age.
don't see him as.
He's at the age. He's the right age.
Well, yeah, like they have him as right. Well,
Well,
look, he
he's
was a teenager when
22,
he
but
turned.
like, yeah.
No, but this is what I mean. They're setting him as the
Yeah.
teenager that Peter Parker was supposed to be, and I
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy that. And it makes sense for him to have a hero worship to somebody else. Now, it's not granted. Okay, I know it pisses
It's gone a
off
bit too far, I think.
people, but Marvel have it done in such a way where they need this and the story in it for it to kind of focus. Now, I think it's their way. It's because people really like Robert Downey Jr. It's people like the character and they like seeing Robert Downey Jr. in the movies on this one, and it's a way of keeping him still in it even though he's dead, sort of thing. And I think that's why they are kind of keeping him around, because I'm sorry, I'm Team Iron Man all the way. So like I will continuously go to see a Spider-Man movie knowing that they will have a throwback to Tony Stark in it.
Yeah.
So they're playing to the
I just
audience
think
that
the
they know what
Spider-Man
to
has
do.
become too.
To what?
I
froze.
think he's become too tech-based. No, I was just thinking he's
No,
too.
I
wouldn't
Iron
say-
Man.
I wouldn't
Too
argue that
Iron
because
Man-y,
like
I think.
it's because it depends on what iteration of Spider-Man you have. So he either has
Yeah, yeah.
natural webbing or he makes it himself because
No,
he's
yeah, that's
incredibly
the
smart.
thing. It's just the whole like say the suit, like with the talking back to him and everything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a
think
fan of that.
I can understand that, but I also think it's also to do with a thing that they have to go with the times as well.
Mm.
So in today's technology wise, everything talks back to us.
I'm just going to be
You're,
interested
like,
to see
and
how
I
they
think
do the
that's
crossover
why-
with Venom.
Yeah,
If they're
like
going to
that.
do the exact same thing, because if they don't, then it's just been a waste.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'd say
everything.
they will, but I think it's also as well like the way movies are being done now. Like the comic books originated in the 60s,
Even further back.
Further back.
right?
Jesus.
I'm trying to
40s.
think, right? So
30s
so
even.
you have
some
So
cases.
you're using a blueprint from, let's say, the 1930s onwards for a
I'd say it's
2020
four.
audience.
Yeah.
So
No,
do you know
it's
what? It is gonna. I'm sorry, Tony. We're gonna have to go technical on this because people aren't going to be interested otherwise. Because nowadays,
I
kids
mean, I don't
nowadays,
know.
no, I think it is one of those things. I think it is. You kind of have to update with the times that you're in because if you're looking at something, and if I, honest to God, like if you were watching a movie that they still had a rotary phone in it, your first question is going
No,
to be,
yeah.
"What the fuck?"
Oh,
Like, get with the fucking times.
so Spider-Man
And this is.
has been around since 1962.
Oh, so I was right
Oh
with the
yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
You are
you.
right.
I knew it
No,
wasn't.
I
Yeah.
was thinking you said comic, and I just straight went to like, okay, when did Batman come out? What?
Yeah.
Nine.
When was
So
Detective Comics?
yeah,
Comics?
because you had like Superman in like 38, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Batman came out a year after in 39.
39 or
So
37, 38 or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably
something like that. Yeah.
thereabouts. But it was a year apart. But like, so they've been going. So yeah, it'd be about
Yeah.
that because he's like 80 this year, I think,
Yeah.
which is crazy to
Yeah.
think.
It's
I know.
the whole
But like,
just the whole thing. It's like if you like, have you as well played the Spider-Man PlayStation game?
yes,
No.
I
I've
think
watched
the
a
way they did,
playthrough of it.
yeah, I think the way they do tech with that is the perfect way to go with it.
it's a
Where
good
it's
way
like
that
he
they
has
explain it.
gadgets
Yeah,
and it's not like his suit has powers as well. It's he's got the powers himself, but he's also got gadgets that he's made himself.
yeah,
See, that's the
I
thing
think
with
that's better.
I think that's the thing is I think people kind of look at Batman and kind of forget that Batman doesn't actually have any superpowers
he's
and he
human.
needs the gadgets.
Yeah,
And I think that's
but
where
you have to also
people
remember
get
that
wrong on it.
he's got these like he's proficient in every type of martial arts and everything. Like he's
Yeah,
got
well, he
a
had
lot
to.
of stuff
Look,
to
we all
him as
know what
well.
he did with his gap year. Like he dropped out of college and just went and learned everything. Like that's grand.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like I'm okay with this because I like that Batman Begins actually gave they gave a
He's
reasoning
kind of
as
like
to why he's like this, whereas no other Batman series
he's
has.
like he's kind of like Iron Man in a way that his mind is his superpower.
Yeah. Well, look, Batman is
And he's
psychologically
incredibly
fucking
rich.
damaged,
Yeah,
and yeah, like he has
but
the money
he
to
is the best
bankroll his
detective.
really psychotic
Yeah,
ideas,
Well, they haven't really
and it works.
showcased his detective skills
yeah,
in the
Skills.
films,
in the
which
films,
Not
yeah.
really at all.
Which I hope they like. It's been rumored that the Batman coming out next year is going to do that, so I
yeah,
hope they do that.
like they're aiming, like they're using that as one of
I
their
think
main focuses.
because I think in a movie where like the Riddler is one of the main villains, I think
You
you need
need
a lot
the
of detective
intellect.
work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just have, oh, well, I'm the Riddler, I'm smart, I found the Batcave. Like, I'm sorry, I still hate that movie.
Still, it was
It's
an
like, yeah, you
excellent
need some.
casting choice. So it was still an excellent casting choice for that movie.
think of the time
I
that was.
don't
Like Tony.
see Jim. Yeah,
He
for the
is
time,
literally
yeah.
a comic book character at the time. Yes,
He
it's
actually is the
for
perfect
it.
casting for that character.
For the character at the time, yeah. But I think,
Like obviously
like
you have
looking
someone
back on
now,
it,
but
on what I know of the character now, yeah. No, it's just like because I've been like accustomed to the newer versions of the Riddler before I found out about the Jim Carrey version.
yeah.
So looking
Just
back
out
on
of
that, I was just like, oh
curiosity,
no.
have you ever actually gone back and watched 60s Batman?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's like,
'Cause-
wow.
Caesar Romero
Yeah.
as Joker with his big mustache still
With the
showing.
mustache
I know,
under,
yeah,
'cause he
because he
wouldn't,
wouldn't
yeah.
like, yeah, he
shave it.
wouldn't have. But like, I think, see, Frank Gorshin was the original Riddler in that sense, and he played it really fucking good. Like he was a character actor. Like he
Yeah.
knew what he was doing. Those are the types of things. And I think
Yeah.
when you're looking at it from that kind of point of view, when they originally decided, when Joel Schumacher, I think was doing, Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher.
Yeah. When he was doing it, I think he decided I need a character actor for this, and Jim Carrey was the perfect fit for it at the time. Also, fucking the original Penguin is what's his name from fucking Rocky, Mickey from Rocky.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that.
Yeah.
It's fucking gas when you think, because when I figured that out, and then I watched Rocky for the first time in a
You
long
couldn't see
time.
it the same
All
same way.
all I kept hearing was "Rah, rah, 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 rah." Like that's all I could. That's all I could imagine was like, do it, get him, Rocky, get him,
You
get
got him,
him, champ,
Rocky.
get
You
him.
got him,
Rah,
Rocky.
rah, 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 rah. Like that's all it is. But like
Here's
watch, but they
with
did
the
like. They had, sorry, just going to very quickly say, they had
yeah
every single Batman movie on Sky. At one point, it was like Sky Superhero,
yeah
and they
Sky
started from like
Batman or something. No,
Batman all the way up to like The Dark Knight Rises. And I sat there, I watched every fucking single one of them, and I pissed myself laughing at literally in the 1960s Batman being like, when he's like on the ladder and it goes into the ocean and then it pulls up and there's like the inflatable shark is like attached to his, and
Boom,
he's like,
boom.
Robin, send down the bat repellent shark spray. I'm like,
The
oh my
bat
fucking
shark
God.
oh,
repellent.
shark spray.
I was like, what the
Like the
fuck?
magical
I was
belt
like,
that had every repellent.
yeah. It's like literally it has everything on it. And I was watching it, I was like, this is the shittiest fucking piece of crap I've ever watched, and I'm gonna record it so I can watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like it is one of those like it's not bad because it's a product of its time. And that was Batman was the cheesy Batman with the
Yeah.
red bat phone directly to Chief Gordon, Commissioner
bat
Gordon,
pole.
even. Yeah,
The
like
bat
it's
pole
just
alone.
fucking
It's like he'd slide up and down, like magically he'd go down, he'd be in his bat suit.
and he was
Go
in
back
his
up,
bag. Yeah,
he's in his civilian
I
clothes.
want to see the ledge where they have to get changed, because I want to know what Batman and Robin were chatting about when they were putting on their tights. Because it's just, oh, we need to jump off here, and then straight away into it. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But it was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Like
I fucking loved it.
yeah, like the characters alone, like in that, like yeah, it was a product of its time. But even when you watch it now, it's like knowing that you can enjoy it. It's very
Yeah.
easy to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
with the newer films, obviously, like they are products of their particular times, but not only that, the products of that particular director at the time.
See,
They
now
also have their
that
style.
ties in. That ties in very good to what I want to say is with the new Batman coming out next year and the rumors that they're casting another Joker. Do you think they've overdone the Joker at this stage? That now every single time a new Batman is coming out, there's rumors of a new Joker. They have Joker
Yes
in a
and
different
no.
movie and a Joker there.
It's a yes and no
Will,
for me.
it
like,
is a
because
yes and no, right? Because if we look at the Joker that Todd Phillips has done just recently,
Yeah.
he
Great.
had said himself, it was like, this isn't set during the time of Batman.
Yeah.
And he goes, they will never meet each other either in this movie. This is a standalone movie. Like realistically,
Well, standalone, and
look
now
at-
they've greenlit a sequel, or they're writing a
No,
script
but
for
like-
a sequel. Like,
but
yeah.
if you look at that movie, the actual Joker movie,
Yeah.
you could if you didn't tell somebody, oh, this is based on a comic book character, if someone didn't know it was based on
Yeah.
a comic book character, they would not at all think that this was a comic book movie at all.
No.
It has,
No.
there's nothing in that to really kind of say this is a comic book movie.
there's
It
only
just-
nods
Yeah.
to it. There's only
It's-
nods
yeah.
to it, but not
That's why,
blatantly. Like,
The
that's
only
why
thing that would
wouldn't-
get people questioning is like, where the fuck is Gotham? Like,
that's the thing is, like,
Yeah.
that's one of the only real giveaway that this is based on any sort of comic book character is the fact that they have it set in Gotham City.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, you would not at all like really think that this, and also unless you've read The Killing Joke as well,
Yeah.
you're not really going to have a massive idea as to, okay, this is a Joker original story.
yeah.
Like,
but we
so
don't
you
even know
can't
if this
kinda
is
get
the actual
away.
Joker as well. Like, that's the story.
that's
about
what I
it.
mean. Like it can't. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, with The Killing Joke, okay, they changed his name as well for like what's the name in The Killing Joke? It's not Arthur Fleck. It's something
Jack
else.
Napier.
Jack Napier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like with that one, they have it changed slightly. Whereas with Tim Burton, he is Jack Napier.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson played Jack Napier, and it's his version of how he became the Joker is the same as how it is in the comic book, in the comic
Yeah.
book on it. Okay, he had the red the Red Hood. Like he had the red helmet on. He went into the Vatican. That's how it started. That was how the Joker became the Joker. Todd Phillips decided this. They didn't do it by the comic book. They took an
Yeah.
aspect of the comic book and they took
Yeah.
the setting of where this person is from, and that's the only thing that they did. So to come around and say, well, we will have someone else. We have a different actor playing a Joker. That doesn't bother me, because to me, these two are not the same character.
Yeah, but like no, I get that. But like I'm talking more. Okay, let's see.
Is it kind of, it's they, all right, I will agree
Ledger,
that they have
they've
turned,
done it a lot.
they've
Since Ledger,
they've
they've done
turned,
it with Leo, Joaquin Phoenix. They've done it with two different people in Gotham, the TV show,
okay, so
and now they're doing it
I will
again.
admit though that this is where my yes comes into it. They have kind of turned the Joker into the new Spider-Man with how often they seem to use him and
Yeah,
reboot him with
he's
a different
not.
actor. In that part,
He's
yes, I
not the
do agree.
same. He's still the best villain, but he doesn't seem as special anymore. As in, he's coming, kind of.
Yeah, well,
But
I think it is so, like, the Joker is Batman's most known nemesis
Yeah. I just
as
think
well.
like, okay, with Robert Pattinson, this is his first movie. He doesn't need the Joker in his first one.
no, not at all.
No, but this is the thing. This is where DC or Warner Brothers, whoever, Warner Brothers are the studio behind it, aren't they?
Yeah.
This is where Warner Brothers gets it wrong so many times. They think they have to have every single villain and character in one movie to make it work, because Marvel does that. The only difference is Marvel has had X amount of years to do that, and they've done it correctly. Warner Brothers is playing catch up, and they think they're so far behind that this is what they think they have to do.
I think they found their mojo though. They've fixed the way they have to do
We
things.
think they have, but now they're
Well,
introducing how many villains into one Batman movie, which is the first one that
Well,
they've done. They
that-
have
that's
3 villains
Based
already in
on
it.
there is reasoning for that though. There is reasoning for that though.
Granted, but they're not. This
Yeah.
the thing is though, for a first movie and a first outing, they don't need this many. Flesh out one villain at a time. Like,
But I think that's the
Penguins,
plan, that they're
like,
like them villains are there aside.
Yeah, you can have like villains on the side, but with yeah, I do see what you mean, where like you have too many villains in the one film. You shouldn't. But
like,
unless it's explained properly, where like, okay, his forced outing, he manages by chance to take down one of the smaller villains, and then during the course,
Yeah.
you realize, right, I need to improve on this. So you have a natural, steady progression.
Yeah.
you can do that.
out
But
of the Joker, the Riddler, and the Penguin, which one is a smaller villain?
Out of them 3,
Riddler,
I'd
Yeah.
say it's really hard for me to say.
because
Right.
your
So that's-
favorites
but
are going to change.
That's what I mean, like, because you
Yeah.
have people going in, so you will have people who will, for some reason, have the Penguin as their favorite villain, and they're going in because in their
Yeah.
mind he should be the main villain in this new Batman movie. And then you've got the Tonys of the world who are going in like, no, the Riddler's the best villain, so he's going to be the head villain
Yeah.
in this. So then you have him going in wanting to see him in all his glory, and then you have all the Joker marks who are going in, but like, no, Joker is the villain. And then you don't know what way they're actually going to go about it, and all of a sudden fucking Poison Ivy shoots up out of nowhere, and it turns out
But
she's actually the
I
fucking real
think
villain
the
of
way
whole thing. Then you have a
what
lot
they-
of disappointed people. That's why I think it's
But
a
I think
bad
the way they're
idea.
doing it is the detective way. The way it's a detective way, that it's like the whole thing's based on like a murder mystery kind of thing or whatever, and like Batman has to like go with all these villains who are prominent at the time, figure out which one of them is involved. Like, it's not going to work the
I
same
really
if it's
hope-
like, okay, it's going to be, there's Riddler, Carmine Falcone, it's one of them two. Well, you know which one's going to be the main villain.
But at least
that's
that's
what
an
I hope
explanation
they're
on
doing.
why they're there, so that's fine.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
hope. Yeah,
Well,
see, I hope
prefer
that's
I
how
prefer
they
kind
do
of like
it.
see, that's what I liked about Wonder Woman, was like where it was like, okay, Ares, the god of war, he's the main villain, and they thought it was the German general, and then all of a sudden it turns out to be the guy they met in the pub like all that
Yeah.
time back, just out of nowhere. That's what I want. Like when it's like, okay, you kind of half know who the main villain is, but you don't. That's why it's just like, okay, detective work. Could Catwoman have done this? I don't know. Well, this seems like something the Penguin might have done, but maybe it could have been the Riddler who framed the Penguin because he knows how that
Yeah.
works.
Like,
Yeah.
That's
but
how
again,
that's how it has to
that's-
work.
that's that's what we're hoping for. But again,
But whether the studio
has
will do
proven,
it is a different
that's the
story.
thing is the studio's
They've
proven
got their last
can't do
few
that.
though have been good. The last few
Yeah,
movies they put out
Aquaman
have
and
been
Wonder
good.
Woman have been fantastic.
Birds
Cool.
of Prey, Shazam. I thought
Shazam was good.
Shazam is really good.
Shazam was a tough sell though because like you're introducing someone brand new. So
Yeah.
fortunately enough, they didn't bog him down with not only world building or like sequel baiting. They just
Yeah.
did little hints, one or two throughout the film, and that's fine.
Yeah,
Perfectly fine.
no, they did that well. And the whole Dr. Savannah was a good villain for it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they didn't bring out that's what I like that DC, they didn't, okay, first of all, we have to get the main villain out now. We have to get Black Adam out for this instant movie. Like, no, they're waiting on that. They didn't even hint towards Black Adam yet. Other than the open chair in the
They
room.
actually made reference to it in deleted scenes from Shazam. Where
I haven't seen that, yeah.
All of them are sitting on the chairs and then one just looks
there's
over.
one.
It's like, who are we missing? It's like,
Yeah.
And then that's
There
it.
is-
It just boom cuts out.
It is a thing though as well. Do you think that they might like this thing is like, do you know the way when you're on a roll in something and you're like, I'm taking every box, I'm on a roll, we're doing really well again and like people are really enjoying it. Do you think they might jump the gun though?
Yeah. Well done.
That's what my concern is. So they have had a load of hits, and like this thing is they have had some good movies, and they have had a good few hits now at this point, and it's starting to work for them.
I think they've
it's
figured out what works.
Yes. If they keep it as single
as long
film
as the
where
same
it's
people
little hints,
I
in
that's
think
charge
fine.
of it.
They need, I think they need to wait a few years before they actually do a Justice League movie. And I'm not saying like, I'm saying
no, I agree
5-6
with that.
years away.
Yeah.
No,
And just
I
build everyone
agree
up.
with that. Yeah, I agree.
But the way
with
they're
that in a
doing it
sense.
now is, I think it's working. Like
Yeah,
Birds of Prey,
but-
for an instance, it's like they didn't bring in too many people on the team, and you already
It's
had
one
an
of these-
established Harley Quinn who was the main character.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
just
worked,
my
and yeah.
my concern is that they're not just getting too big headed and ahead of themselves. That's what my concern is, because
Yeah.
they've shown that they do this before.
So,
Like and I don't mean just in comic book movies.
I
in a sense.
think
Warner
what
Brothers
they're
have a
doing good.
history of doing
Yeah.
this.
I
going back
think
to
what they're
you're
doing good now, though, is that it's not like run by the one person. It's not like Zack Snyder's looking over everything. It's now a director doing their own thing,
Yeah.
but
That's where
kind
it
of
might-
keeping it.
You
That's
see,
what I
that's
think.
that's
See,
another thing. That's where it might hit a bit of a snag though.
See,
'Cause if
Warner
one
Brothers
director's
have
already worked-
hired Jeff Johns, who's a credible like comic book writer and has worked with DC for so long, as the managed kind of like the
Kevin
uh,
Feige.
he's kind of like the Kevin Feige of DC, where he's going to
Yeah.
oversee everything and try to make sure that they all make sense in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if
It's like yeah. But you look at the movies that are coming out within the next year. It's Batman, Suicide Squad, with James Gunn as the director. So it's obviously going to be a more lighthearted kind of Suicide Squad.
but James Gunn has proven that he can actually work with a big cast of characters and
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
make
And
them
yeah,
work.
that's like
That's why I think he needs to have some sort of charge with DC, like with, okay, we're doing this multi-man film, like that like if they do ever like a multiple Green Lantern Corps movie where it's not just the one Green Lantern, it's not just Hal, it's
Yeah.
all like a few of them, he'd be a good
Mm.
man for it, because like you could put a bit of comedy in there, or like James Gunn can do movies without comedy as well.
that's the thing
So-
is I think with comic book movies though as well, I think there should always be an element of comedy though in them. Like when you, because like
Yeah.
really, like when you
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
what a comic book movie actually is, like like I'm not saying that you need to have like a sidekick just to kind of crack the jokes and stuff, like you don't need that, but it doesn't mean like the way people are like, oh, it has to be done seriously. No, it fucking
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Like, you're
I think that
allowed.
it
there is
should
a time
be.
and a place for it.
Yes, if it's
Exactly, and James Gunn
circumstantial,
is
that's
a good
fine.
one for doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and I think James Gunn is a good idea for have on that one because it's not like it's going to be like the J.J. Abrahams, where it's like he was given too many things too soon.
Yeah.
Or not
Yeah.
too many things, sorry, not too soon, but he was given too many kind of things to deal with that were they're kind of similar to stuff that you've already done, but then you're going to ruin both products because you don't have the actual thinking behind
Yeah.
what you're doing. And Star Wars and Star Trek, I don't think it should have been him helming both of them at the same time.
No.
Do one at a time. Like that's kind of like where they go wrong and things.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem with Star Wars though was they catered to fan service, really.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing as well, though, is because he was a massive fan of this anyway, though, to begin with. So, like, to someone in that sense, you're working on your dream project, and you're going to do it the way you wanted it to be done. So you're directing it in a sense of you're serving yourself as opposed to anyone else.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
like
you're basically catering to yourself rather
exactly
than
like
catering
I would
to
be the worst
everyone.
person in like look at it this way. If I was working in this industry and I was given I'm going to use Supernatural as the
Okay.
kind of thing because I was a massive Supernatural fan, and like I still am in a sense, but like for me it should have ended at series 6. So like if that was given to me to actually helm, okay, you're in charge of the final series or whatever, I'm going to do that purely to how I feel it should have been done, and I'm just going to rehash it. And I think that's where certain directors, when it comes to comic books, that's where it goes. They literally are doing a self-service to themselves because it's like, I didn't like how George Clooney did this, so I'm going to change this completely to how I feel it should have been done. And Christopher Nolan took that and was like, this is how I feel Batman should have been done. Now, the only thing is with Christopher Nolan, he's actually a really good writer and director.
Yeah.
And it worked. And he decided, like, he did this is from start to finish. And that's how he planned it. He's like, this is going to be 3. I am doing this from start to finish. After that, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. Just, this is my version of it.
Like
And it works.
granted, like Christopher Nolan's, like his trilogy is regarded as like the best kind of superhero trilogy, but it's not without its own flaws in itself. Because I mean, like, there's a lot of things in that happen throughout the course of those films that are like, why the hell would you do that?
I have this.
See, that's arguable.
I have the same issue with Tim Burton's version of Batman. Why the fuck was Vicky Vale in the Batcave? No, that shouldn't have happened. Like, that's not a thing that should have happened in this sense. Like, that's where I had the issue with. And Tim Burton was also another one where he was like, I don't do sequels to my own movies. Like, the man does not do sequels at all. Yeah, he rolled on to do Batman Returns as well. And that was a bit more over the top cartoony when you actually look at it. Like, even when you look at like some of the sets on that, like when you look at like certain scenes in Batman, you don't like. The only way you know you're watching a Tim Burton movie in that sense is because of how dark it is. But that works with the actual character. It's as soon as he took on and he did the second one, it turned into a fucking Nightmare Before Gotham. Like, that's literally what it was when you're looking at it. It is very, like, it has very Nightmare Before... Nightmare Before Christmas. Like when you look at the character, there's a set piece in that movie when Selena Kyle is coming out after setting off the bomb in the microwave, and they have this like rotating cat head type model that's outside one of the stores. And when you look at that, I'm thinking that was in Beetlejuice. Like that was actually a piece, like that was actually in Beetlejuice. I'm nearly 100% sure of it. And
like,
that's how I knew straight away. I'm like, I'm not watching a comic book. Yeah. At that point, I'm like, I'm no longer watching a comic book movie. I'm now watching a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how it takes you out of it. And that's where you kind of get worried with certain directors. So if you have, like, going back to the Michael Bay thing, if Michael Bay was directing a fucking Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it would be fucking apocalypse by the end of it, because there'll be nothing left because everything is blown up. Like, that's where it ends. Like, look at fucking Transformers.
Which
like,
ironically might be a good reason to put him in a DC movie where they're fighting on Apocalypse.
Everything just turns to fucking dust. Like it would.
Ninja Turtles as well. Ninja Turtles got that treatment as well with Michael Bay.
That's like, do you know
Yeah.
what really upsets me with Ninja Turtles as well? He CGI'd it when back in the day you didn't actually have to CGI that.
No.
Like
No.
I'm sorry, Jim Henson's Creature Workshop was amazing with what they did with those those turtle costumes. Like they worked. And
Yeah.
I'm honest to God, if they did another Turtles movie, but they did it using, we're going to go back to the animatronic type, I would fucking lose my shit. Because that looks more real to me
And the
to
fun
actually
thing,
have.
the fun thing about it is that you can still go back to those original trilogy of Ninja Turtle movies, and you'd
They
still
hold
enjoy
up.
them. They still
Yeah,
hold
like
up.
they fucking hold up. Like I just think it's gas as well when you think of fucking it's Corey Feldman as well when you're listening to some of the voices and you're like, oh, it's Corey Feldman or Uncle Phil, and the original like fucking Shredder, like
Yeah.
and then the Super Shredder, which was fucking Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
Like, I'm
Big sexy.
sorry, but I do not care. Like that, that makes me pop every time I see it. Is the fact that it's fucking.
Yeah, like
fucking
I enjoy
Big
it.
Sexy is Super Shredder. It's gas.
Like, yeah, like it. Again, as we said, like certain directors have their own feel, and they'll do it the way they feel that it should go. But if they're fans as well, they'll also probably take liberties with it. So that's to be
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
expected.
also a reason I don't want Michael Bay directing stuff because he's just going to bring in Megan Fox for no reason.
To be fair,
As
he
he
got rid
usually
of her
does.
off Transformers because he didn't like how she spoke about him, and calling
Yeah.
you a Nazi. So to bring her back into it was a bit weird, but I think it really was. We need a face to sell this.
Money,
Yeah.
money makes the world go round, even if you are
Yeah.
Yeah.
racist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty much.
Jesus, this went a bit longer than I thought it was going to, and I don't even think we've scratched the surface on
No, we
it at
didn't.
all.
Yeah.
And that's
But,
the whole point of it, because we're making this a series. So
yeah,
Well,
we,
This is
we've
something that
decided
we'll do
we're
loads
going.
of because there's
Yeah,
no way
we're
to
we're
end
going the
it.
Marvel route. We're going the Marvel route on this one. So this is phase one. This is the introduction phase
Yeah.
into the whole thing. But yeah, and also Foxy's making me hungry now that he's eating.
sorry.
Guys, just wait until I have to start talking about The Witcher, guys. It's over for you.
Oh,
Okay.
here
Well, the
I have
series,
Preacher.
Grant.
I have Preacher ready
Yeah.
to go.
I've got the series, the games, the books, everything. Like I'm ready.
I can talk about
I'm-
the series, but I can't talk
Yeah.
about the games. So, but
Yeah,
Tony,
I mean, I
that's
can.
your forte.
look,
Yeah.
obviously, because we're trying it out, this is our first
The
video.
man with the Witcher tattoo.
There you
All
go.
right,
Get a
Tony,
book with
calm
him
down. We're
every
doing
day.
our outro.
Look at
We're doing the
flexing,
outro.
just flexing.
Flex.
But
That
obviously, like,
clickbait.
for those watching at home, if you liked it, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hopefully,
Comment,
It-
share to your friends if you have
Co-
any.
comment,
And
share, and if
Comment on what you want to see.
yeah,
If you have an opinion, let us know what it is. We want to discuss it.
yes,
and
And
if you
see what
hate
as our
Amy for not liking Captain America, tell her so in the
Fuck
comments.
off. Fuck off right now. Where are my fucking Iron Man stands? That's what I want, okay? Team Iron Man.
team neutral or
Okay.
team
I
like
hope Katie Harvey never watches
I,
this.
I was Team Cap in I was Team Cap in Civil War, so let's go Team Cap versus Team Iron Man. Let's go.
Ah,
Oh, do you know what makes it even better? Who's wearing fucking blue and who's wearing red?
Yeah. And then Foxy's in the like neutral.
Neutral.
I'm in the neutral, like, because I had both. I have both colors on me, so
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Oh, God.
On that note, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Boo.